Hello, today I'm going to talk about our weather, how it is influencing our state of being, and vice versa, how our state of being is influencing the weather. I'm going to mention some about this artificial creation of the weather. Actually, this video clip was a proposal from one of my listeners because she was interested about these things. So, now I'm going to read one paragraph. When speaking of the impact of our alignment over life, realize that our alignment has the influence even over the weather itself. In fact, the weather is always the reflection of a specific initial conditions in nature and of our collective alignment of this mass of people, of their psychological alignment. Thus, realize that severe storms like big hail, etc., thunderstorms, tornadoes are always the result of certain initial conditions in nature, of proper moisture, water and temperature differences, and above all, of our unstable alignment, especially of our unstable alignment. As greater oscillation in our state of being is driving the initial conditions into a certain direction, where it is quicken this transformation of weather. Thus, a person who has a high and stable consciousness uh, with few poor thoughts and emotions, with good beliefs and definitions, with less worries, fears, and inner resistances, will always stabilize the atmosphere in the reflection of his state of being. So don't be surprised if a storm is raging outside your area while it is quite peaceful in your location. This happened once to me. And more often now, I am living in a village where there is just few houses, very few people. Uh, well, nearby is a big city. Nevertheless, uh, we experience large hail, these thunderstorms. But last years, when I have a very high awareness, I am surprised of how the weather is stabilized, stable. And once even happened that when I was going on a trip and returning home, I hear about that a sudden storm in our place. And when I was arriving by bus at home, the weather is becoming more and more stable. So when I arrived at home, the weather was stable. There was again sunshine. Well, there was a lot of let's say some destruction of our crops, garden. Nevertheless, one people who is well aligned has much more power than many people who are poor aligned. Also, you can simulate this if you have, for example, a large sum of people who are spiritual awakened that are doing some intentional meditation to calm down the weather, to stabilize the weather, because this energy is radiating into the environment and creating a more stable weather. Yes, this is one thing. Because energies are going both ways. The weather is influencing our state of being, this you know, and our state of being is influencing the weather. Like astrological energies at our birth, and now they are influencing our life, and vice versa. We are also influencing our planet, other planets, our close space. So energies go both ways. Also observe how often it oscillates the weather precisely around the time when most people are leaving their jobs in your area, as then the weather oscillates due to the rapid and excessive change in the state of being of those people who do not love their primary activity. Well, it is similar before going to work, although at that time it is less obvious as the creative energy of the source is much slowly flowing through us then. It has less influence over our thought processes. This is especially visible, for example, in Slovenia, in our country, most people finish their jobs around 3 o'clock uh, in the afternoon and they go to work at 7 o'clock in the morning. And at those times, the weather can sometimes very quickly change, especially when they finish their jobs. And in the morning, this creative energy of the soul is flowing very slowly. We are like zombies. We are connecting with this human being, and our thought processes are very slow. So this impact is less visible on the weather than like when you are leaving the job. When we wake up, for example, we are become irritable by the job that we don't love, and this has influence over the weather, especially if many people are like this. And when we go to work, we then surrender, we do what we love sometimes, and this creative source starts flowing. But we have this dark side inside of us, this clutter, these outdated beliefs and definitions that create many dated thoughts, emotions, fears, and resistances. This is becoming unstable. We have polarity, and this is when we have enough of our job, when we are even tired, then we leave our job. And at precisely that time, many people don't come to leave the job, and so pay attention. For example, in your area, when people are leaving their jobs, how it is this influencing the weather. They can become various these storms, even tornadoes, sometimes hail. This sudden changes. It's not like a slowly change from sunny to cloudy and rain. Okay, this is one thing. So my listeners also is interested in the artificial creation of weather. Well, not too much following this. I can say that yes, our weather is artificially created in some ways by those chemtrails that are spraying some chemical substances, especially this aluminum oxide, I think, barium and other substances. Why? Well, they can be different agendas. One is to affect our state of being and ground the food that we are eating, so that we need more medicines, drugs, business, and even and because this is influencing our state of being, we become irritable, restless, and so we are buying more business. This is one thing. From the other side, one say that when they're spraying, this is also accumulating moisture, and this white veil is created. This white veil, it's not like sunny and then cloudy. These dark clouds very rounded. It becomes this sparse white veil that is very disturbing our eyes because the light is very dispersed. Well, some say that this is because then the sun rays are abstracted, and so our planet does not overheat. So they say. But we have also HARP and other technologies. Yes, it is artificial created. So what can we do? Well, you can share informations. This is not good. Some people are like zombies. They don't know this. So sharing information is good. The next step is to take more action, like do some protest before the government, demonstrations, and so on. It's up to you what you feel. She was also interesting in why we're experiencing this silent transformation, such difficult situations on earth. Well, from the higher perspective, from the higher self, the spirit world, we choose such earth of high contrast and a great transformation, like now we're living now. So now we have much contrast. The dark and the light side are hitting on each other, you can say so. And this is especially so that the ones who are still asleep, who are not spiritually awakened, they so that they can decide who to support, what people to support, what ideas to support, to decide what they want to live. Because those who are enlightened and spiritual awakened, they know what they want to live. So you have to have contrast to decide more easily what you want to live. And so now I'm in this cusp, on this edge of great decision, who to support, what people to support in the leadership, and so on, what organizations to support, groups of people, and so on. So from the high perspective, this was destined to experience, but we have also free will potential futures. So it's up to you what you do with this. She's also interested in how to accept these conditions, life conditions, how to be more in inner peace and bliss. Before this, I'm going to mention this, because she's interested also in this how the weather is influencing our state of being. Well, if you have higher awareness, spiritual awakening, but especially enlightenment, then you have inner peace, bliss, these good qualities, less irrelevant thoughts, emotions, irrelevant, these heavy thoughts, emotions, almost without fears or without fears, inner resistances. And the only thing that you can feel from this bad weather and surroundings is that these bad energies, these astral etheric energies, electromagnetic energies that are influencing your etheric body and physical body. So you can be in inner peace and bliss and still experience pressures on your body that is sometimes uncomfortable, but has very little impact if you compare to the spiritual unawakened people who are inside very dark and they are on the same vibration as the weather and surroundings. If you don't have contrast between you, light, and surroundings, dark, then you are dark. It means that you are more it's a different, it's a special, it goes for a different perception. They are living those conditions, and now that you're a higher awareness, you more see this contrast that can have impact on your etheric body, only on your etheric body, physical body. But like I mentioned in one of lectures before, this ratio is about 20/80 between your alignment and the life conditions. So, if, for example, theoretically speaking, if the weather is 100% bad, harmful, you can neutralize by your good alignment the weather in 80%, some even in 100%, so that it has no influence over you. Like you might have heard about these pranarians, Breatharians who don't eat any food and they are alive. So now you can see what is capable our human being. So the acceptance of the weather and life conditions. You can check the lecture about unconditional love. How can I accept life as it is? Yes, because you can realize. Also check the lecture. A few thoughts for the most difficult days to dissipate your inner resistance toward this. Like I said, we as a souls, as a higher self from the higher perspective, we have chosen this art of high transformation. So everything is as it should be, but you have also the free will and your part, your mission in this to change what you desire. Also, I noticed that even if I go into nature, it's the nature isn't anymore like it was. Yes, it's still beautiful, but the energies are different. They are more. They're not more cleaning your body than before. This you notice when you're of very high awareness. Because if you're a lower awareness, then nature can still suit you, give you something, clean you. But if you're a higher awareness, especially enlightened, then nature can't give you any more. In some places, it's very toxic. Not toxic, but it's not. It's more dull. How can I say dull, empty. It's beautiful to see, but it's empty. Energetically, it's so saturated with this negative alignment of people and of these radiations, 5G, and so on. You can say. So, mhm. Well, this is all. What you was interested into? Well, you can write some questions in my comments if you desire to um, that I make a new lecture for you. What you're interested, just write. And well, that's all for today. Have a nice day. Bye bye.